to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the NXT review for today. I'm recording, I believe it's October 23rd. Having a really busy week this week, but I wanted to make sure I put together a review of the NXT show from the 22nd of October, and also as a bonus at the end of this show, I'm going to go through the matches for Halloween Havoc this Sunday and going to give you my predictions of what's coming up for Sunday. And Sunday is going to be a great show. I can't wait. I work at my second job until 8 o'clock, but I plan on going right home and starting to watch it as soon as I can. Really looking forward to Halloween Havoc. As I've said in the past, with all of my my rantings, if you haven't seen a PLE from NXT, you gotta see it. The matches are usually out of this world, and if you have a friend that hasn't seen a PLE from NXT and they don't watch anything else, if they don't watch the weekly show, just have them watch the PLEs. It's going to be great, and I'll go into my predictions at the end of this review. But I have something else I just want to talk about real fast before I get into the show. So I am a huge Samantha Irving fan, and when I saw the post that she did Monday during the day before Raw, that she was no longer part of Raw, I was devastated. I think she's amazing. Her talents, if you just know her as a ring announcer for WWE, she's of course awesome at that. But if you actually have heard her sing, play the flute, all kinds of things, she is amazing. And to be honest, I hope she doesn't go to AEW. Because if she does, I'm probably going to have to watch one of the shows on AEW. Just because of her. I would literally watch it just because of her. And I'm really sad. I'm really sad the way they did. I remember Kayla Braxton left a couple months ago. Actually, her last show was at Madison Square Garden. Actually, I was there at Madison Square Garden. That was the Madison Square Garden event that Paul Heyman got powerbombed through the announce table, and he hasn't been seen since. And that was Kayla Braxton's last show, and they did a whole big thing for Kayla Braxton when she left. And for some reason, they let Samantha leave with nothing. It was a Twitter post, or X. It was an X post that said, "Thank you for everything, but I'm no longer with Raw." And I'm like, what? Don't get me wrong, I like Lillian Garcia, but to me, Samantha is, I don't want to say the GOAT. To me, it's always going to be Howard Finkel. I grew up back in the 80s and 90s when Howard Finkel was the man. But Samantha's definitely right below him. So I wish her the best of luck. Very sad to see her go. Please show her some love on social media. And we'll go from there. But I'm just really sad about that. And again, Lillian Garcia is great. She, there's never going to be an issue with Lillian Garcia, but she's just not Samantha, unfortunately. So anyway, so now we'll review the show. I'm going to keep the review shorter a little bit because I want to do the predictions before the end of the show. And as I mentioned, like I said, I have a lot going on. I'm actually in the middle of two things, so I wanted to get the show recorded before the end of the day on Wednesday. So you were waiting all week for the NXT review. So this week was the go home show for Halloween Havoc, which happens this Sunday, as I said before, and it is the show is on October 22nd, 2024, from the Performance Center in Winter Park, Florida. And the show opens up with video footage of the arrivals of the NXT champion Trick Williams and All Ego Ethan Page at the Performance Center. And we also then see the arrivals of Damage Control, which is Io Sky and Kairi Sane, and Metaphor, which is Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, which actually is the first match of the night. So let's get right into that. So the first match is a tag team match between Damage Control and Metaphor. And this was a great match. Let me tell you. I know I keep sounding like a broken record, and I do apologize for saying this, but you know what? Until it's not true anymore, I'm going to keep saying it. The women's division in NXT is by far the best women's division of all the shows. All the shows. Pick a show, it's the best. And to put in Io Sky and Kairi Sane in this mix, and two others, which I'll talk about in a second, was just awesome. And Io Sky is so good. She's so good. She's so fluid, and just everything that she does. She even messed up. She slipped off the rope at one point during the match, and she still made it look cool. Like, everything she does. Like, it was a great match. Lash Legend, if you've listened the last few weeks, Lash Legend is just a beast. Honestly, again, I think Lash Legend, we got to get Lash versus Jade at some point in the future. It's going to be great. And at the end of the match, we had Piper Niven and Chelsea Green come out, and Piper, I believe, tripped Jakara Jackson, and basically Piper and Chelsea wiped everybody out at the end of the match and stood tall. And it was a no contest, probably double disqualification, something like that. But yeah, so that was, listen, this show, just to tell you how good the women's division is in NXT, and I know they borrowed some wrestlers from other shows, one from SmackDown, one team from SmackDown, one team from Raw. This show started out with a women's tag team match, ended with a women's tag team match, and neither women's champion, Roxanne nor Kalani, were even involved in any of the matches. They had a total of 10 women. Granted, again, I know some were borrowed. They had a total of 10 women bookend, actually 11 if you count all three members of the end, but we'll talk about that in a second. But they had them bookend the show with I think one or two other matches. I'll get there in a second. Women's matches in the middle, and it was great. There were way more women's matches in this event, in this NXT episode, than there were men's matches. Amazing. The whole show this was a great show, and a lot of it just had to do with the women and how good they are. So anyway, as I said, kind of double disqualification, no contest, that kind of thing. So yeah. We then got video footage of earlier today when Tank Ledger was standing on top of the NXT merch stand, and then they introduced NASCAR racer Cole Custer. He was driving up in a truck, and Hank and Tank then walk over to him and welcome him, and OTM pulls up and talks trash and said that he stole their parking spot, and basically that led to a match later on in the night. So we're gonna get there. We then head to the back where we see Sol Ruka and Carmen Petrovic looking at Brittany Reese doing deadlift squats. Reese then jokes about turning down Ashante the Adonis, and Ruka then points out that there may be something between them. And Adonis then shows up. Adrian the Adonis then shows up to hit on Petrovic. Petrovic then says she only returned the favor by costing Adonis the match the week before. And they stare at each other before Ruka and Adonis. But Ruka sends Adonis away. Ruka then points out that there has to be something going on between Adonis and Petrovic. And Petrovic then says Ruka doesn't know what she's into. And Petrovic leaves, and basically it sets up a match between the two of them. So, And then Tatum Paxley comes up down to the ring, and we've got a match between Jada Parker and Tatum Paxley. And listen, this is the second match in the show. Another women's match. A great match. Both of those two are great. Let me tell you, in a few years, the main roster women's division is going to be electric. Not so much now. Not as much as previously, but in the future, it's going to be great. And to me, it started with Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria coming up. That's just my own personal opinion. Tiffany's, don't get me started on Tiffany. That's for another show. It's not for me, but she's awesome as well. So we have the match. It goes back and forth. It's a decent match. They work really well together, and Jada ends up getting the victory after, I don't know what she calls her move. Basically, she hip bumps her opponent and gets the pin. So I love Jada. I love Tatum's character. Tatum's character is great. So that happened, and that was like I said, that was a decent match. At the end of the match, Lola Vice comes down, and security and referees hold her back while Jada basically talks crap down by the ring. She doesn't have to be held back, but Lola's held back. And then while that's going on the other side of the ring, Tatum Paxley then gets the weirdest thing. Hopefully they follow up with what's going on, but Wendy Chu comes out, puts Tatum Paxley in what seems to me a Cobra clutch. That's what it looks like to me. And then puts her in a container, closes the lid, and wheels her out. And that's it. And it just goes to black. So that was really, really kind of weird. Like I said, hopefully we'll know soon what that was all about. Okay, so then we get a video promo from Stephanie Vaquer and Giulia. And so Stephanie is talking about what's going on, and Giulia's talking in Japanese and Stephanie's talking in Spanish, and they have subtitles for both. But basically what happens is Giulia talks about walking unknown roads and paving your own way, and then Giulia, that was Stephanie actually. Giulia then talks about raveling in the world to conquer Europe, Japan, and South America. Giulia then says, that was Stephanie. That wasn't Giulia. I'm reading a review just to refresh my recollection. Giulia, not a review, but like just what happened. Giulia then says she wants to team with Vaquer because she can only trust someone that has that hits as hard as she does. Now, again, I don't know if you know the history. Those two had many matches in Japan, which I guess since I just said that, I'll talk about this. At one point, Stephanie and Giulia were going to the ring, and they crossed paths with Damage Control, with Io and Kairi Sane. Please give me that match. Please, at some point, we need to have that match. The four of them together will absolutely cook, and I really, maybe a WrestleMania match, depending on, what they have planned, but that would the four of them together would be gold. Gold! So anyway, that's the end of the vignette, the video vignette. Then the camera cuts backstage where we see Adriana Rizzo, and she's attacked by some mysterious person. We don't know who. Tony D'Angelo comes out and yells at Luca and Stax to get a doctor. Luca and Stax then make their way out to the ring for a match with Luca and Obafemi. And, yeah. So, that match was really... Luca did okay. He wasn't as bad as everybody thought he'd be. But he still got killed by Obafemi. I mean, Obafemi is... He's brand new. He's only been around for about a year total. But he's a generational talent. And he is just... He's amazing. And he needs to get boosted up to the main roster soon. I don't know if there's any room for him right now, especially with Netflix only being 2 hours and kind of getting the shaft from the USA Network. I mean, if you've watched Raw, it's not as exciting. To me, it's not as exciting as it was when it was 3 hours, and I can't wait for it to get to Netflix. It can't get here anytime soon. But anyway, the match was okay. End of the match, Obafemi takes Luca and just first, tosses him across the ring. This is the same way he ends out all the matches. Tosses him across the ring, and then does a pop-up powerbomb to get the victory. So Obafemi wins via pinfall. We then see separate shots of Ethan Page and Trick Williams walking in the backstage area. When we come back from commercial, then we get a video promo of Andre Chase. Talks about the importance of Chase U and how Ridge Holland, how Ridge Holland, put him in the hospital, put all the other guys in the hospital, and basically made Thea Hale a blubbery mess for weeks. And Andre Chase basically says, Adrian Chase. Oh, yeah. Andre Chase, I was right. Basically says, I'm going to do what you did to me. I'm going to put you in an ambulance. So now there's a setup for an ambulance match at Halloween Havoc. So that should be interesting. So, there's that. Then we get, to me, I would say the worst, but the not as best segment of the night, where we get a promo between Trick Williams and Ethan Page. And apparently there was a thing where they both said that they wouldn't touch each other. Ethan Page comes out kind of dressed, normal. Actually, not as Ethan Pagey as he usually dresses, if that's a adjective. And Kevin Nash. And then we have Trick Williams coming out in like a fur coat and sunglasses and no shirt. And basically, they just keep going back. I mean, it was entirely too long. This promo, it was just them going back and forth. Ethan Page saying, it was almost like they switched roles. It's almost like Ethan Page saying how much he was the babyface, like how he is scrapped for 17 years. And now he's finally at the point where he got his first taste of a WWE title, and he craves it, and then it goes back to Trick. I hear what you're saying. You don't hear what I'm saying. It was entirely too long. To be honest, it was pretty boring, and it ended again. Trick was kind of being heelish. Trick was being heelish, and Page was kind of being babyface-ish. And it ends with Trick turning his back on Ethan and walking out of the ring, like, purposefully. And it's like, what is going on? What are we doing? And like I said, the promo was it was long, drawn out, boring. I'm looking forward to the match. It's going to be a great match. And I'll tell you later who I think is going to win, but it just didn't hit. That promo did not hit to me at all. If I'm the only one, let me know. But if you agree with me too, let me know that, because it was really just boring. Anyway, so then we're in the back, and let's see. Kalani shows up with Giulia and Vaquer, and how she there's fear in the eyes of Jade and Perez. Oh yeah, right. Corey Jade and Roxanne Perez, they start talking smack, and then Kalani comes out and basically says they're afraid of them, and then Jordan asks, and then Fatal Influence comes out, and Jordan asks, "Hey, who am I facing? Which one of the three am I facing at Halloween Havoc?" And basically they say, "You're not going to know until that night." So I guess it's Freebird rules, sort of. I don't know. If you guys know what Freebird rules are, let me know. I think it's an interesting concept. It's kind of the way Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are now champions instead of Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. They're the old Freebird rules. All right, next we have a singles match between Sol Ruka and Carmen Petrovic. And so during the match, it was back and forth for a while. During the match, Adrian the Adonis comes out and sits next to this random girl in the audience and starts, kissing her up and talking her up, and starts walking up the aisle with her towards, the outside of the arena, and Carmen Petrovic gets distracted. And then Sol Ruka hits the code breaker, which, let me tell you, if you've ever seen Sol Ruka do the code breaker, you should see that. Just Google Sol Ruka code breaker and watch a video of it. It's the coolest cutter I've ever seen next to about most of Randy's, actually. I mean, if you ever see, go. If you ever want to see the cool RKO videos, just Google Randy craziest RKOs or whatever, and just some of the ones that he's done over the years. If you haven't seen them yet, you should definitely see them. And this is coming from somebody who wasn't watching wrestling during the time, so I'm going back and seeing all these things. I can't imagine seeing them live. But anyway, Sol Ruka gets the win, and Carmen Petrovic gets her heart broken, I guess. So then we see Tyson DuPont and Tyak Ingwa. There's two guys, I guess they're an NXT Level Up. If you ever seen that, it's the show for people below NXT. And they're talking to Nikita Lyons backstage, and they say they're waiting for the moment, and then Lyons then tells DuPont to be aggressive, and then Lyons tells the other guy to take his opportunities. And then Obafemi shows up and hands Lyons the robe that she dropped, and Lyons then thanks Femi, and then Femi says thank you to Lyons. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. So, moving on. Then we have a tag team match between OTM and Hank and Tank. And Hank and Tank are accompanied by the guy from NASCAR. I didn't realize that there was an Infinity Series. But anyway, match starts off with OTM brawling and goes back and forth, and eventually it goes back and forth, and then Jada Parker's out there because she's the manager also for OTM, and Lola Vice runs out and starts beating the crap out of Jada Parker, and they're all distracted and back and forth, and then that NASCAR guy, which again, Infinity Cup Series, okay. The NASCAR guy, apparently it's now legal to hit somebody with a race car helmet on the back, which he does to OTM, and then Hank and Tank get the victory. So, Hank and Tank win via pinfall after shenanigans. There was shenanigans. Anyway, after the match, Vic Joseph says NXT will be sponsoring Custer's car, and Lola Vice then enters the ring to dance with Hank, Tank, and Custer. We then see Axiom and Frazier in Ava's office. Oh, earlier there was a back and forth between Fraxium and Javon. And yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, I didn't talk about this. And basically, Javon Evans slaps Nathan Frazier in the face, and they go to Ava's office, and Fraxium decides to give them Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander a tag team title match, which will happen next week on NXT. Then there's a promo from Ridge Holland talking about how he's beating the crap out of Chase U, and he plans on putting Adrian Chase in a ambulance again. So that's going to be the match on Sunday at Halloween Havoc. So then we're back, and we have Sarah interviewing Tony D'Angelo. I forgot to mention, I'm sorry, I've been all over the place. I forgot to mention, at the end of the match between Obafemi and Luca, Obafemi basically beats the crap out of Stax and Luca in front of Tony D'Angelo, he actually zip ties Tony D'Angelo's hands to the ring post, and so he can watch Obafemi. He can watch Obafemi beating the crap out of Luca and Stax. So now Tony's ticked, and Tony's being interviewed. And he talks about how Rizzo, Stax, and Luca have been taken out, but then Femi is making things more personal than a championship, and Tony is going to use every table, ladder, and chair to personally beat Oba's arse. And then we have, I told you before, we had Giulia and Stephanie cross paths with Io Sky and Kairi Sane. And then we had the tag team match, great tag team match. 4 of them. We had Giulia and Stephanie versus the Fatal Influence, which is JC Jane and Fallon Henley. It was a great match, a lot of back and forth. And at the end, we had Giulia and Stephanie win the match via pinfall. We had Roxanne and Cora Jade up on the balcony looking down. And then, and Kalani Jordan came in to help out as well, help Stephanie and Giulia. And then right as the match was ending, right as the show was ending, Fatal Influence then spins the wheel to figure out what kind of match they're going to be going with Kalani Jordan. It lands on Spinner's Choice, which then they start laughing and ha ha ha. And right before they can say anything, we have Zarya, who, have you seen the promos for? She was formerly known as Delta. So Zarya then briefly appears in the ramp as the show comes to a close. So, again, another awesome women's wrestler in this division. It was a great show. I really liked the show. I give it like a B plus maybe. It was a great show. Lots of women's stuff going on, and the women's stuff is great. The men's stuff is great too, but the women's stuff on NXT is just superior. And real fast, let me just go through the matches and my predictions for Halloween Havoc on Sunday night. First, you have Kalani Jordan versus either Fallon Henry, Jason James, or Jasmine Nix. We haven't decided yet. It was a spin the wheel, make a deal match, which is Spinner's Choice. So we won't know until Sunday night what the kind of match will be. But Kalani Jordan will defend the North American Women's title. I actually think that Kalani Jordan's going to lose this match. I think the title's going to change hands. That's my prediction. That it's just going to be too much for her. And with all the Fatal Influence girls there, that she's going to lose her title to whoever she goes against. So we'll see how that happens. We have Ridge Holland versus Andre Chase in the ambulance match. I honestly think that Ridge Holland's going to win this match. I think it's going to be. We have to wait until Duke Hudson gets back for there to be real like real. This is how things are going to end. But I think, in my estimation, in the ambulance match between Ridge Holland and Andre Chase, it's going to be an ambulance match. It's going to be Ridge Holland winning that match. The tag team match between Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade versus Giulia and Stephanie Vaquer. I believe that Roxanne and Cora will win that match, and it will set up an eventual triple threat between Stephanie, Giulia, and Roxanne. Eventually. I don't think it's going to be the next one. I think it's going to be down the road, but I think eventually it will set up a triple threat match. We've got a North American title match between Tony D'Angelo and Obafemi. This is on at Halloween Havoc again. It was a spin the wheel, make a deal match, which is tables, ladders, and scares, which is tables, ladders, and chairs. And if you don't know how that match is that it's basically a ladder match with also tables and chairs. And the belt is suspended above the ring, and you have to climb a ladder or whatever in order to get the belt down, and the person that does that is the champion. I don't know who's going to win this match. Hold a gun to my head. I think maybe they'll do the same thing with Tony D'Angelo they just did with Jey Uso. And Tony D'Angelo got his moment in the sun. Thank you very much. Here's your thank you for for being you and for doing a great job, and here's a title, and okay, now we're going to give it back to the good guy. Not the good guy, but the amazing number one guy that we have right now. So I think, hold a gun to my head, I think Oba Fabby's going to win this match. Yep, I don't know how he's going to climb a ladder, but he'll do it, and he'll win the match. Last match is Trick Williams and Ethan Page, which is another spin the wheel, make a deal match with what's called a Devil's Playground, which is basically like Bloodline Rules, if you know what I'm talking about. Basically anything goes. I don't see Trick Williams losing this fast. He is the flag bearer for the CW on NXT on CW. He's not losing that title, not anytime soon, to Ethan Page or anybody else. And they are pushing Trick full force. He's not going to lose a title. I love Ethan Page, heel champion, but Trick Williams is winning this match. And if you have any questions or if you disagree with me, let me know. And I'm going to get going. And I hope to hear from you, everybody in my comment section, or anybody. Just send me something, some comment. Let me know what you think. And in the meantime, I will be doing a review on Monday, the 28th, for Halloween Havoc. So prepare for that. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.